York well.
Right.
I've come many times.
Do you have a car here?
Yeah, we have an SUV.
Oh, is that the red?
Yeah,
Yeah. That's one I'm right behind, Arnaldo.
So we use that car. Although we are mostly in the house because we have on Wednesday we have the yoga nidras, and then the weekends we have teacher training.
And Tuesday, Thursday morning you have.
And then Tuesday, Thursday morning, afternoon. So we have just bits and pieces of time.
Not a lot of time. And are you cooking? Or
Yeah, we cook. We do everything. Yeah, it's very expensive to
go out. I know. It's expensive.
Abusive.
A beautiful day today and tomorrow, I think, right?
Yeah, the temperatures are going up.
Nice, right? Although
apparently the weekend is going to be nice.
Someone said snow on Monday. I don't know.
What? Snow on Monday?
That's what I heard. I don't know.
Well, I heard very
Oh, more importantly.
Oh, you're so kind. Oh, dwindled.
Yeah.
So, take your shoes
Well,
off.
it's a lot, yeah. And you know, both you and I work, right? Well, I guess, yeah. It's funny, I had this like commitment on Tuesdays, which I'm wondering, where are you?
So, we will start with 3 minutes meditation.
Do you have a choice?
Thank you so much.
Yeah, 100%. You're right.
So just a few minutes meditation to start. With your breathing or your or the mantra, if you want to use the mantra, just a few minutes. Shanti, Shanti. Open your eyes slowly. Namaste.
Oh, sorry.
Come in. No, I was just thinking, that's why I said I look like this, that I'm discovering that Americans with punctuality are similar as Spaniards, so it's okay.
So you're used to it.
I'm used to it.
No, there's two Ellises.
Oh.
And so
And you got the wrong address, okay,
I got
don't
the wrong
worry.
Ellis.
And actually, the road is closed at the top. I had to
Yeah.
go around.
Yeah.
Anyhow, don't worry, you know, it's okay with me, there's no problem. Okay, so we are going to start by reviewing the technique we learned last session, okay? So, let's start with you, John.
Armando.
Eh?
Armando.
Armando.
Um,
I mix you with a guy that is exactly like you, and it's called John, and I called him Arnaldo, and you John. So anyhow.
I think that the candle meditation was good, especially if I just let the thought come and go.
I'm speaking about the morning meditation,
Mm-hmm.
the good morning day. You learned that? You were
Yes,
here
yes,
last
I
time.
was here.
The good morning day, the shower, dress in full presence, as one would say.
Right.
Keep your mental dialogues directed to God, and then sit down, and if it comes out naturally, the prayer I explained you, you did that,
Yeah, I did that.
and it went well.
It needed to be very intentional, so because I was thinking, it's normally, when I woke up in the morning, damn, it's like 6 o'clock, but I have to go to work now. Then I have to go, oh no, it's a beautiful day, or try to think of good thing.
Well, it is very important. It is very important to retrain the mind precisely in those terms, because the way I do it, I can explain the way I do it.
Mm-hmm.
The way I do it is that I give myself enough time since I wake up in the morning to the moment I have to be at some place, let's say, or doing something.
Mm-hmm.
So, I know how I function, and I give myself enough time. So if I need to wake up at 5:30, so to do it without a rush and just go to bed half hour before, well, I do that.
Right.
Or I sleep a little bit less.
Mm-hmm.
But I make myself sure that that I can do that
Time
practice.
yourself.
Which is basically, when you wake up precisely, don't let yourself be taken away by all the I have to do this, I have to do that. Is wake up and prepare yourself for the day you have to live, and you will start acting after your meditation and after shower, shaving, dressing. Because of course now you are at bed. So you just need to shower, shave, dress, and meditate, because you are going to start your day with a meditation, which makes a difference,
Right.
which
Right.
makes a real difference. And it's something which is not, it shouldn't be effortful.
I'm not sure, because at the beginning it's kind of retrain that yourself.
Yeah, exactly. You have to retrain the mind. I mean, the mind will start speaking with everybody. So you retrain the mind. You make you might need to do a little bit of effort at the beginning, because you have to retrain the mind to, you will be in the shower and you will be speaking mentally to your boss, say, for example, or to the guy you are going to meet for this thing. But you have to retrain the mind to just, put the mind in front of the mirror of God and, direct your thoughts there, because this will help you to realize what is really important and what is really not. For you that have not been, you were not in previous class, or yes, you were, no, you were not, because you were for the first time at Merrill's, right, okay. So here when I speak to clarify, when I say God, I'm just speaking about, you don't need to believe in God. The mind, when the mind chatter is there, what happens is that you are directing your thought or speaking with, it's another different people. I.e., if you are thinking about family problems, you might find yourself speaking with your daughter, with your father, with your cousin, and if you are thinking about work things, you might be speaking with your boss or with your colleague, with this person you are going to meet. Your mind is constantly chattering with different people. And when the mind does these chatters, it would be long to explain now. But when the mind does these chatters, you are inventing the person you are speaking with. It's not the real thing. It's simply an invention in your mind. And you know, I always put this example so that people can relate. If you can think about your mother or your father speaking mentally with you, addressing his mental thoughts to you, you know, he's in the shower in the same way that you might be doing it with your mother or your father, they do it with you also. And if you kind of try to imagine yourself that daughter that your father or mother is speaking with in his mind, addressing her thoughts to you in the mind of your mother or your father, how that daughter that is in the mind of your father or your mother, how similar to the real daughter is. Is it exactly the same or maybe completely different?
Different.
Completely different, really very, very different. And that is your mother and your father, which raised you, that you have inherited their patterns. You know, imagine me that I found you in the street, which is the example I put, you know. So you are speaking with projections in your mind, invented people, in other words. You realize? Okay. So, once you are speaking with invented people, invent a God. And how do you invent a God? Easy, by its description. Try to address your thoughts to an omniscient mind. I.e., if you were speaking to a mind which is conscious of absolutely everything. Every power that be, every conscious of everything. Every thought that there is, you know, everything that is going on. The totality of consciousness, omniscient. Speak with an omniscient mind, which is omnipresent, which means that it's all around you. And somehow, as it is a consciousness, can speak to you or can communicate with you, because you know, even in the position of the objects in a room, there is a language. All artists are able to capture that language when, you know, they make a picture maybe of the objects as they were left in a room, and then those objects are telling you everything that happened in the room, for example. So it's omnipresent and is omnipotent, which is the energy moving all molecules, is the energy moving everything. So imagine, you know, all those worries, all those thoughts that you are having, instead of speaking them with your boss, i.e. if you find yourself speaking with your boss in the shower, try to tell the same thing to God. Try to tell God what are you telling your boss and what are your intentions in telling him that, and this will serve you to look yourself squarely at the mirror. At the end of the day, what you are doing is looking yourself the nearest, the most honest in the most honest possible way. Because if you are speaking with your mother or your boss or your friend, you are going to project an identity which you are not. You are going to lie yourself, definitely. The problem of lies is not only the lies we tell others, is the lies we tell ourselves permanently with our thoughts. So it's a good way to, you know, put your thoughts in front of a mirror that, you know, you are able to look yourself squarely in the mirror, honestly in the mirror. So you do this exercise the idea is, since you wake up till you sit down to meditate, you shower, in the case of a man, you shave, and you do the makeup or whatever the case might be. And you do that in the presence of God, in the presence of that mind. You do that preparing yourself for the day you have to live, which is the only place where you can do something for your life. And so you just concentrate on that. I mean, any adult waking up any given day, you know, you have already lots of things that that day is going to bring you, and the only thing you need to be prepared to confront everything that's going to come, and you have to be sure that whatever ability you have, you don't need to think about it, because you will exercise it when needed. I.e., you don't need to think about that you are going to take the car, so I'm going to open the car with the left hand, and then I'm going to do like this, and I will put first the right foot and then the left foot, and then okay, the key is here. You don't need to think that. If you have to take a car and you know how to drive, you will just take the car and drive. So whatever ability you've learned in all the lives of all the days before the life of this day, whatever abilities you bring to this day, they are yours. So you don't need to think about them. You wake up well with the right foot, you wake up in this mood of good morning day, and then you do your first meditation, and then you start your day. And then you start your day, you know, and you may have an agenda with the things you have to do or whatever, and then you start acting, which is what we are going to speak about today, mindful action. So you had this effort that you have to do.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You have to do it at the beginning, but you will see as you practice it, you are going to continue doing this practice until next Tuesday, and I will review it again. We want to learn as much as possible during these days of all the techniques, so that you can fly alone after this. So, remind me your name?
Galina.
Galina, right, Galina. So you were in the class, last class?
I missed Tuesday.
You missed last Tuesday, right? So, but you followed it in the video. You did the practice.
I looked the video yesterday.
Yeah, and you did the practice this morning.
No.
No, okay.
I overslept.
So, from here to
I
Tuesday,
needed effort.
yeah, we need to do that practice. It's only 4 days. Come on, Barbara.
I actually did it this afternoon because I had to be at work really early. But I'm hearing you, and last Thursday you said we're going to be doing this for like 8 to 9 weeks or something. So I know I really want to do it.
Right. Okay.
So, but to be honest, I just...
You did this afternoon, but you handled it well while doing it? Yeah.
I did exactly as...
The whole process?
I did the breathing, I did the candle, and
right.
yes. So I,
no problems with the tratak, with the...
No.
Perfect.
No.
You have very much
So I felt guilty, so I wanted to do it.
Good one. Well, we don't learn to meditate to feel guilty about another new thing.
I know. But I want to do it because I think it's going to be really
yeah, exactly. It's more like you oblige yourself to a discipline, but not to feel guilty, you know, but you know, just say, look, I'm going to put... It's a discipline that it is not that it's hard to do, because when you do it, you feel very well. It is a discipline that it is hard to do, because the little eye that projects itself in the mind, when he finds that you are meditating and you are doing this kind of practices, he knows that he is going to lose the power that it has over you. And so he is very, very good at finding excuses. Oh, today's too late, you know. And so the difficult part of putting the discipline is not that, you know, it's easier to go and run 1 hour every day, and much more people do it and meditate, than sit down 20 minutes to meditate every day. Because you know, if you run, you know the ego is satisfied, the little I is satisfied, you're going to look smart, you're going to be, you know, so and so, and then the ego will not put any impediment. But the ego will put as many impediments as you can think for you to meditate. And that's a battle that only you can win. I mean, nobody but you can win that battle. But if you win it, then you implement the discipline, and then the little I loses the grip over you. And suffering disappears in the sense, doesn't mean that pain, some situations are painful, but you know, 90% of the 90% is the suffering. The 10%, as Buddha used to say, the 10% of the pain is unavoidable, I mean, but the 90%, which is the suffering, you can avoid.
We can manage or avoid.
So, remind me your name?
Joanna.
Joanna, okay, Joanna, yeah, right.
You know, I go to Merrill's regularly, and I've been doing this. I changed my lifestyle a couple of months ago now, where I make myself get up an hour earlier, and I do everything you're just talking about. It's the best thing I've ever done. I mean, I really find it helpful. Now, for example, I'll be honest, I did it what's today? Thursday?
Thursday.
Yeah.
I did it yesterday. I knew I wasn't going to do it today. It was my sister's birthday. We were out late, so I didn't do it today. But I don't feel guilty because I do it every day.
Right,
so,
right. And you don't want to feel guilty if you
No,
miss a meditation, something like that. You have to be soft with you. You know, you are putting this discipline, knowing that the little I is going to give you work, but you are putting together this discipline to, you know, softly, without, you know, until you get it done, you know, and really you have to little by little say, no, now I wake up 1 hour before and I do it. As soon as you start doing it regularly, the benefits come very quickly, and then, you know, it's easy to continue because, you know, you get habituated to those things that produce satisfaction. So.
You know, it's interesting. Yeah, I get up like a whole lot. Like it doesn't have to be an hour, but I chose an hour early. I take my morning much more leisurely, and I actually, it's just I'm more efficient though. It's so funny. Like I end at the same time I used to. I get and I sleep better, and it's not like I feel more tired. I feel less tired. Everything just gelled.
Yeah.
It took a while. It is an effort at the beginning.
It takes a while, it's an effort at the beginning,
Yeah.
it's an effort at the beginning, but then exactly one of the things that happen is that your sleeping rhythm adjusts very good. You start sleeping deeply and profoundly, and, you know, restoring sleep. You become more lively, more intuitive, more so. There are lots of benefits to be obtained, and, you know, you have to do the effort at the beginning, but if you keep the effort for 8 weeks or so, you've created the
pattern or
the pattern already. Yeah, exactly. So obviously you didn't do it, so I don't ask you. So what we are going to do, we are going to do a chant now, a meditation, and then I'm going to, after the chant, I will explain you a new technique, the techniques that you are going to apply with your actions every day. What we could say, what they call mindful actions these days, what we call karma yoga. So the yoga related to the actions you have to perform each day. So now we will do the chant for you, is the same one we did, okay, but I'm going to explain exactly how you do it. So, because at marriage, you know, you didn't receive an explanation, so you just have to go with the flow.
everyone lit the candle. Yeah, I actually had these little photo candles and I do that. I actually sat and put it on. And so it was about that's what it said. And, yeah,
So this technique, it's a pranayama mantra. So you do it in one breath. You breathe in, Aim Hrim Krim Chamundaya Viche Che, and you breathe out while you say it. Breathe in, Aim Hrim Krim Chamundaya Viche Che, breathe out. Breathe in, Aim Hrim Krim Chamundaya Viche Che. Very important, you finish with the M's. Aim, Hrim, so there is like Dr. House, the tongue goes back and to the front, Hrim, and then cream like cream. Like, well, this is written in, as I would write it in Spanish, really. This would be like two E's. So to put it in English pronunciation. Hrim, cream, Chamundaye, which is cha like cha-cha-cha. Moon like whatever. Mundaye, Chamundaye. Okay? V, it's not a B, it's more a V.
In
Okay?
Spanish, right? It's a V.
It's more a V for Victor. So, obviously this is not how it's written because originally it's written in Sanskrit and has nothing to do with these letters, but this is how you pronounce it, basically. So, you do how do you do this? You do this with your eyes closed, comfortably sitting down, and what you do is you observe yourself doing this, which means you observe maybe how the mouth is moving, or you observe how this is moving, the movement of your breathing, sensations in the body, thoughts. You will have thoughts, all sorts of thoughts. One of the typical thoughts that you have when you do this at the beginning is, I am fed up of repeating this. So what you do with thoughts is you let them go. So when the thought comes, I am fed up of repeating this, you just imagine it's a thought of someone else. Someone else is fed up, but you are just like observing yourself repeating this. You can, if you have, some devotional attitude, Aim Hrim Krim Chamundaya Viche Che, it represents the divine goddess somehow, the divine feminine, the divine mother, let's say, according to tradition, Hindu tradition. So it would be, you are calling for that energy that soothes, the divine mother. Like for a Catholic it would be the Virgin Mary, or Mother Mary. Well, the divine mother, the mother that you can go on. So you can do that if you want. In reality, according to the mantra tradition of the Tantric tradition, these are Bija mantras, and they represent, it's not words, it doesn't have a meaning as if it was a language. Although if you look in Google, you will see many interpretations of what it means, but it's not words. According to this cosmology of the ancient Hindus, the first thing that existed was a first vibration, which was the Om, and then Om is not a word, but people might translate, if a mantra has the Bija mantra Om, then people might translate that for God. So, but it's not the word God, it's the sound Om. So this is the same. This is the sound Hrim, the sound Krim. According to Hindu cosmology, this would be the sound that was heard in the universe just after the Big Bang. Because in the Big Bang, the sound that was heard was the Om. And just after the Big Bang, Aim Hrim Krim Cham Daye Viche Che, which created all forms, you know, or which was the base of the creation of forms, you know. It's like the mother, the one that receives the seed, and so this is just cosmology, ancient cosmology, you know. So you can, you know, say this in front of God as you conceive it, but basically the main technique is observe yourself repeating this mantra and let everything else go, which means any sensation you have or any thought or while you are doing this, you just let them go because you are just saying this, repeating this. And when the thought comes, I'm fed up of repeating this, like someone else is fed up. But when any other thought comes, I have to do the dinner for my children, like if it was the children of some other, you know. You just let it go, and it's easy to let go of the thought because you have to put your attention in repeating this, which is moving this part of the body with which you articulate language, saying nothing. And so it's easy to let a thought go, because in fact if you don't let it go, you might be saying Aim Hrim Krim the fucking Hadron Viche, no? Because you've got your thought intermingled with what you are saying, and you know you couldn't let go. That thought you couldn't let go, so it intermingles with what you are saying. So it's a technique to let thoughts go. And I start more slowly, like Aim Hrim Krim Cham Daye Viche Che, Aim Hrim Krim Cham Daye Viche Che, Aim Hrim Krim Cham Daye Viche Che. Then I go more quickly. Aim Hrim Krim Cham Daye Viche Che, Aim Hrim Krim Cham Daye Viche Che. And then I go more slowly again. Aim Hrim Krim Cham Daye Viche Che. The one before the last one, I mark the aim, like Aim Hrim Krim Cham Daye Viche Che. And then the very last one is a very long breath. Aim Hrim Krim Cham Daye Viche Che. And you make yourself sure that you empty all your lungs. The same way when you are saying this, you know, if you need more air to end the phrase, don't breathe in more. Simply push your abdomen in and take the extra air from the lungs. Okay?
So you're breathing out when you say, you breathe out when you say this.
Yeah, you breathe out while you say this, and you breathe in just before saying it. So, you breathe in to have the air to say this while breathing out. Okay? So, I'm going to put this light off so that, you know, when we meditate, it's not so bright. This light is needed for the... If anyone wants to go to the restrooms, this is the opportunity, last chance for the restrooms, no? Okay, so we start. I will do 3 rounds. After the 3rd round, all of you meditate with, if you have your individual mantra, Who has, do you have an individual mantra? No. You have individual mantra? Yes. You have individual mantra. Do you want an individual mantra?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Yes.
We can organize a meeting for me to do that.
Awesome.
Right, okay. So we have, you meditate with your breathing. Have you meditated before? Yeah, you know how to meditate with your breath. Good. So let's go. Krim Krim Chamundaye Vicheche. Aim 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 Krim Krim Chamundaye Vicheche. Chamundaya Vicheche. Aim Rim Prim 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 Chamundaya Vicheche. Aim Rim Krim Chamundaya Vicheche. Chamundaya Vicheche. Aim Rim Krim 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 Chamundaya Vicheche. Shutaya. Shanti. 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 Very slowly. And giving yourself at least a minute. You come out of this meditation. Namaste. So, I'm going to use the last 30 minutes to go through the So again, this is a simple discipline.
Oh, it's good.
Noche, night.
It's good like that.
Night. I'm so used to write noche. Meditation is a discipline that we implement in our lives, and we implement this discipline in the only place where we are alive, in the only place that we exist, in the only place that we have an experience of ourselves, in the only place we can do something for ourselves, our life, or our loved ones, which is during the life of one day. Because that's obvious. What you did yesterday, done it is, and what you will do tomorrow, tomorrow you will do it. This is a teaching that is in all the spiritual traditions, which has to do with being the here and now, being the present moment, be where things are happening. John Lennon used to say life is that thing that is happening in front of you while you are busy with other things. And basically what we do is, instead of taking the moment, which is the inaccessible moment, because as soon as it happens, it has gone, we take a quantity that we can handle well, which is one day. Because really the rhythm in which we live, which is that we are either asleep or awake, we can say that when we are asleep, we are not there, at least we are not in charge. You know, when you go to sleep, somehow you stop being in charge. You have this consciousness of, you know, ideally if you go to sleep, you disappear when you sleep and you reappear again the following day. If you keep appearing during the night, you don't sleep well, really. So the least you appear during the night, the better you will sleep. So ideally you sleep in one go, you know, and really you disappear completely during your sleep. In fact, that is a little bit what happens. And it's very easy to realize this, because when you wake up in the morning, and I will just review this idea with all of you very, very quickly for the sake of, remind me your name? Linda. You wake up in the morning to your memories that you project in the screen of your mind, and these memories that you project in the screen of your mind, well, they are composed of what you tell yourself about yourself, what you tell yourself about life, the memory and interpretation you have of your circumstances, the people that are part of your circumstances, and all that appears in the screen of your mind, projected by your memories. But when you were 14, this projection was completely different. And when you were 20, it was completely different. And when you were 30, the same. So it changes from one day to another. The little I, you, when you wake up, when everybody wakes up, assumes that I am this, you know, without saying it. You consider that that's what you are, and that's your reality. Well, it's important to know that your reality lasts one day, because, you know, at the end of that day, that reality is going to disappear, and what appears the next day is different. From one day to another, it's like a baby, you don't see him grow, but it changes, because the minute you compare it in time, you can see all that it changes throughout time. So, when you wake up in the morning, what you have is a day. And that day is the only thing you have. For example, for those that are Christian here, who is Christian here? You? Three. Christian in the sense of education, I mean. Not that you believe in Christ or in any particular church. But in the Bible, you know, there is this thing in Matthew 6, 23 to 32, something like that. It says, I'm going to paraphrase because I don't know it in English to begin with, but it says something like, and don't worry for what you are to dress or what you are going to eat, because didn't God dress the lilies of the field better than Solomon and feeds the birds, blah, 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 blah. So, dedicate yourself to the things that today brings, that tomorrow it will bring you another thing, no? So it's something like that. If you look it's in the 4. So means basically, look, I mean, life is one day. Be sure of that, and it's only today that you can do something for your life, that you can do something for your loved ones. And it's through your actions that you resolve yourself, because although you think you are this, nobody knows this. Nobody is aware of that. Nobody will ever be aware of that. And nobody cares. I mean, we wake up in the morning and we think that there is a past, a common past. My past and your past have nothing in common. My past and your past, you know, the past in your mind, because the past is not a place that we can go. So the past is just a production of the mind. And what's the common past? Not even in history books there is a common past, because different people write history books in different ways, you know. So it depends who writes the history book. So past is nothing, that's a past, and you project it into the future and you think this is real, while the only thing real is the actuality of the day you have to live. So your reality is, you know, between quotations, reality, but what it is really real is that you have one day to live. And one day is composed basically with respect of the I of three things: your actions, your thoughts, and your feelings. We already explained that the first thing you do in the morning is your first meditation. But if you want to follow that, it's recorded in the videos, so after the class, if you want, you give me your email and I put you in the class where all the information is. So, basically the I that wakes up every morning to live the life of that day, the I is associated to your actions. So you experience yourself as I do things, I dress myself, I act. The I is also, we also experience it associated with our thoughts. I think, we live ourselves as an I thinking, and the I is also associated with what we feel. I feel somehow happy, frustrated, confused, but the I is feeling. So the I that wakes up in the morning and will disappear at night, because initially your I, you identify it with this, has actions to do, thoughts to think, feelings to feel. And that is the totality of the I. The I is not involved in any other thing, but in what it does, what it thinks, what it feels. These are the three yogas. Karma yoga. Karma means action. Yoga means union. Finding the union through action. Thoughts is Jnana yoga. Jnana means discrimination, discernment. Thoughts, the best use of thought is discriminating in the ultimate instance, discriminating or discerning between real and unreal. So the Jnana yoga is finding this union through discrimination between what's real and what's unreal. So, for example, part of Jnana yoga is starting discriminating that this reality is quite unreal to begin with. It's just a projected reality in the screen of your mind. And feelings, I mean, this is Bhakti yoga, the feeling that really makes you live life to its fullest is love, is devotion, compassion, the Buddhists say. The compassion the Buddhists teach, or love thy neighbor as thyself, is the same teaching, you know, because really the teachings are all the same, in different words, in different cultures, in different traditions, but the essence of them is basically the same. In fact, what I am teaching here is, in a new language, something that has been taught by all spiritual teachings, in any case, just with good meditation techniques, good prayer techniques, and concepts updated to the sophisticated mind of today, no? So this happens, for example, in Buddhism. They have the octuple path, that right action, right thought, right communication, that is part of thought, the right compassion or right feeling, which is, so you have that in all the traditions. So today we are going to dedicate it to actions. What is the karma yoga? The yoga of doing. Well, here, this is a very important yoga for all of us. Because, you know, there are many schools that teach meditation today come from monastic traditions, so from contemplative traditions, in other words, from monks. We teach, since 1976, clearly dedicated to householders. And it's different, the teachings for a monk than for a householder. And a householder is someone that, you know, the word says it, hold a house, you know, the mortgage or the invoices, the this, the that. So a householder, the most important yoga for him is karma yoga, because the day of a householder will be filled with action. Of the 16 hours that you are awake, and that, you know, the I is in charge, the I that you perceive yourself to be is in charge, or you experience that the I is in charge, because when you go to sleep, somehow you stop being in charge for the night. Then the following day you start being in charge. So there's a rhythm, and we have to find that rhythm. So, of the 16 hours that you have to live, an adult, a householder, like any of you, how many hours are actions that you have to perform? Yes or yes, you don't even need to think about it. You, for example, going to work at 9, you know, or whatever. How many hours are actions that you have to perform? Yes or yes? Of the 16 hours.
All 16.
Nearly all 16, exactly, nearly all 16. Well, depends if you are retired. How many hours in your case?
2.
2. Only 2. So you are retired. Ah, good. Okay. So you can allow yourself living a little bit more like a monk in that respect. Exactly. But normally, unless you are retired, you know, and if you have family even more, you know, you will have lots of things to do that you have to do, yes or yes. So all those hours that you have, in your case 2, but in any other case, however many of them, it's not always 16, because when I say yes or yes means that you have to do it yes or yes, but there are many things that, you know, you can say, okay, I watch the TV or I do this. I mean things that you have to do, like pick the children at school at 5. You don't need to think about it, you have to do it. So all those actions that you have to do, like for example, eating every day, no? And then there is the mindful eating thing, or you don't eat every day?
I'm fasting for 2 days.
Ah, okay. No. Normally people eat every day.
I'm really throwing wrenches in your tongue.
Yeah, but you know, you can fast an amount of time only. After a certain amount of days, you will have to eat. So the normal thing is that you have to eat, prepare your food, dress yourself, wash yourself, and we always have things to do, like clean the house, this, that, the other. So, you know, you don't clean the house.
I'm not run by those things.
You don't clean the house?
I do sometimes.
Okay, okay. Well, it's important to live in a clean house.
We're not coming over.
Anyhow,
Rooms.
a householder, a normal householder, will have many, many of those hours that are actions that you have to do yes or yes. Now, what is the right action? What is the secret of right action? The main secret is one: forget about the result. You have to become oblivion of the result you are looking from your action. Our mind has been the result. Our mind has been trained to think that we will get satisfied with the result of our action. So our mind has been trained that we will be satisfied with the cleaning of of the house when the house is clean, for example. Or we are brushing our teeth and our mind is in having our teeth brushed. Or we are peeling potatoes and our mind is in having the potatoes peeled, and so on and so forth. So our mind is always expecting the result of the action and is focused on the result and not on the action itself. The reality is that if you forget about the result and you stay with the action and you just give yourself completely in the action you are performing, if you do this action as if it was an offering to God, you forget about the result. You know, say you are peeling potatoes. You take the potato, you start peeling the potato, and you see that your mind is rushing to, I need to have the potatoes peeled and fried and eaten, and so it's rushing the situation, looking for the result. So you have tried to pause it, stop there. You know, when you see that your mind is rushing for the result, stop there. You can do a pranayama for 16-8. Okay, for example, you do a pranayama for 16 and 8. You create a little pause and then you put your attention in the breathing, or you can repeat your mantra to keep your attention, and then you bring your attention back to the action of peeling the potato in the same way that we bring the attention back to the action of repeating the pranayama mantra. We just bring it back. Our mind will wander, will want to go to the result, but we just keep bringing the mind back to, I am peeling potatoes, smelling the smell of the potato. You know, you will probably smell the earth where the potato comes from. You just peel the potato. You put all your attention in peeling the potato as if you were peeling a potato for God Himself, you know. So you really give yourself completely in the action. What you will discover is that in reality satisfaction comes by performing the action. So it's not what action, it's how you perform it. The satisfaction is in the action itself, not in the result. You know, like these typical films that you might have seen, you know, of these Zen monasteries or of the monks cleaning the floors very slowly and, you know, doing it, you know, as if they were preparing that for God Himself, you know. Not wanting to have that clean, but just cleaning, you know. If you act like this, if you train your mind to act like this, you will start finding a lot of satisfaction in what you do, because you will get immersed completely in the action you are performing. And the act of acting, the act of doing, will become a little by little an enjoyable act. All this is interrelated with the different techniques, because also with Tratak meditation, your mind little by little will start to focus effortlessly. So your mind gets more focused or focuses more effortlessly through the benefits produced by Tratak, through the different techniques, you know, you little by little develop devotion. So all these techniques are a combination that interact with each other, and is a combination that produces the results. So going back to action, we have to learn to act like this. We have to learn, when we are doing something, learn to forget about the result and just flow in the action and make that action. The best way I can describe it is an offering to God. And I think I can be understood if I say that. You know, you don't need to believe in God, but it means that you give yourself off completely in what you are doing. Obviously, you will get the better results without thinking about them. Because those potatoes that you have peeled and then you have fried, they have been done in such a way that the potatoes taste better and get all that energy, you know, and then your children that eat those potatoes are happier. because it feels better in the stomach also. So really, when you act like this in anything you have to do, not only you get the best results, but you convert those 15 hours of work in 15 hours of meditation. Because meditation is not meditating a little bit in the morning and a little bit in the evening. Meditation, at the end of the day, it has to, all day has to become a meditation. And the day is composed of thought, action and feeling. And we are going to learn what to do with these three things. The longest to learn is thoughts, which is what I will deal from Tuesday and Thursday next week, because thoughts is what gives us more trouble. So we will look at thoughts Tuesday and Thursday, and the last week we will dedicate it to feelings, which means to, you know, help you open your hearts, because that's the secret. When you wake up in the morning, loving everything that surrounds you, loving the day you have to live, loving the light as it comes through the window, then living a day is very easy. But love is something that you cannot impose on yourself. You cannot tell to yourself, tomorrow you are going to love, say, this neighbor that you don't like, that you dislike. No. You say, Galina, you say to yourself, tomorrow you are going to like John, the neighbor, no? And the next day you continue disliking him, exactly the same. So you cannot impose it on yourself, but you can do the things that facilitate that love happens. Because love is a happening. So you can always create the circumstances that make the happening of love to actually happen, no? So with all these techniques, what we are creating is those circumstances, so that love happens in your life, and you start, you know, loving everything of life, which includes you and everything that surrounds you, because you exist, because the rest exists, because there is no existence that can be separate, you know. For you to exist, we have to exist. We cannot exist. For we to exist, lettuces have to exist. You know, sheep have to, fish have to exist. Farmers have to exist. For you to have this mind, your parents, your school. So for you to exist, the rest have to exist, and you exist because the rest exists, and the rest exists because you exist. So, in reality, it's only one existence. So, action. The secret of action is that one. So, how do we train ourselves to act like this? There are many ways. There are many ways. I'm going to give you a little way for you to practice from here to next Tuesday. So, the next 4 days. Which is, you download one of these mindful apps that are in the market for free, that have a timer, and you just put the timer, for example, to sound every hour, from say 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock to 7 o'clock, that it sounds every hour. And when it sounds, whatever you are doing at that moment, you do it mindfully. You stop, do a pranayama, put your attention in the breath, forget about you want to have it finished, and do it. Whatever it is, could be an email. Instead of writing the email, wanting to have the email written, write the email and give of yourself completely in the email, and think about the person that is reading it, what he's going to understand. Really do it as if it was to God, as if it was done in front of God. And you know, whatever when it sounds, whatever you were doing, and this includes you, because you will be doing something. unless you are sitting all day. Could be walking or could be whatever it is, you know, painting or... Anyhow, so you can do that. You can also do things like planify, you know, like saying, this week I'm going to practice acting like this, karma yoga, or call it mindful action, or call it whatever you want. The concept you understand, forget about the result. Use an object to keep your attention. It could be breathing, it could be the mantra, and bring your attention back to the action once and again, and simply perform that action, giving yourself completely. You can make plans like, this week I'm going to do everything that has to do with home, cooking, cleaning, that I'm going to do it mindfully. And you say, this week I'm going to do this. Or another week you say, well, as I have things to do in the garden, this week I'm going to do my gardening mindfully. And so on and so forth. You can, you know, planify, do a mixture of planning and you know, the randomness of the bell. What will happen if you practice this and you practice the rest of the techniques is that after 2-3 weeks, not more, if you are determined, or 4, maybe 4 weeks, after 4 weeks, your mind starts realizing deeply that it is much more satisfying acting like that. So you make your mind habituated to act like that. And although at the beginning you have to put effort, after a while you simply naturally you act like that. And naturally you find yourself wanting to have the potato peels and you don't even have to think it. You just breathe and you continue peeling potatoes. And you start flowing through action. And when you start flowing through action, you kind of navigate the day very nicely. You get all the satisfaction that you can get by acting mindfully, and you get the better results of your life. And remember, your person is not what you imagine in your mind. Your person is known for your actions by the rest of us. So the rest of us know you not by what you think about you, but they know you because of what you do, of your actions at the end of the day. So, you know, the person that is our biggest worries always is about our person and its future. Well, the best thing you can do for your person, if that action you have to do it yes or yes, like many actions that we have to perform every day in life, can you do anything better than give yourself completely to something you have to do in any case? Because if you do it giving yourself off completely, like if it was an offering to God, you will not get the best results, but more than that, you will enjoy doing the action. You will find enjoyment in the performance of the action. So this is the practices from here to Tuesday. You start with a good morning day. You do your tratak. You implement a little bit of karma yoga or mindful action in your day, you know, in the way you feel like to. You could use the bell and make it sound 10 times a day, or you could use, well, today I'm doing the cleaning at home mindfully, and tomorrow I am doing the ordering the office mindfully, and you can choose things that you want to choose. It's nice to choose something that you don't feel like doing. For example, I don't know, to the children, when we teach them at school, we give them as a practice to put order in their room mindfully. and the parents appreciate it. So you do that for a week, and then at the end of the day do your mantra meditation with the preparatory mantra that you learned. And from here to Tuesday, and I start Tuesday reviewing how it has gone, and we will start studying practices for our thoughts. Yes.
What is Tratak?
Tratak is the meditation that is done with the flame of a candle.
Yeah,
That was last session.
that was a big thing.
So
Yeah.
watch it.
Yes.
Okay.
It's in all the videos, so you, at least you can see the videos.
Okay.
You will give me now your email, and I will send you an invitation to Classroom,
I need that.
and we need to sort that one out
Yeah.
with you. So now, when we finish, did
I
you
got
organize?
it, yeah.
You got that
She's got it,
sorted
yeah.
out?
Yeah.
Good.
I need it.
How long can we do a good morning day?
How long? What do you mean?
Like, is that close to 40 minutes, or it's just
That is
whatever-
basically the time period, and it changes with person. That goes from the moment you wake up in the bed with your head in the bed to the moment you sit down to meditate, because what you are going to do is the first thing is meditation. So from the moment you wake up and then you shower, dress, sit down, meditate, all that period of time from the waking up to sitting down to meditate, you do it in the good morning day mood. Which means normally, as at the beginning, you need to make an effort because you have to guide thoughts.
Right.
It means that you will be very diligent because you want to sit down to meditate as soon as possible to stop doing the effort. So, but you know, after you practice it, promise, you will see, for 2-3 weeks, maximum 3 weeks, you will see that is what naturally comes out from you. You will start waking up, and the first thing that comes to your mind is good morning day instead of this problem, that other problem. Because it's not the same. When you train the mind to wake up and say good morning day and look at the light coming in from the window or whatever the case, and the mind stops waking up and thinking about this problem, about that problem, and this other thing I have to do, and this, and I'm going to be fucked here, and this, and that, and the other. The difference is a lot, and then you are more capable to deal with any problems that you may be having also.
One more question. With that, the karma yoga, when we stop and give ourselves to what we're doing, mindfulness, we would be able still finish what we need to get done?
Oh yes,
I'm
look,
just thinking
at the
like-
beginning, when you introduce these practices, it might take you the same action, say brushing your teeth.
Right, but it
No,
would be more
the
slow.
same action, it might take you a little bit of more time at the beginning. What happens in reality, once you get the mind trained to act like this, is that it takes you a shorter time, but you perceive it as a longer time. It's like when you are more mindful of what you are doing, the hours are the same hours of a day, but you perceive the days as being longer. You know, it's kind of like suddenly you find that there is a lot of time. 90% of adults lose 90% of their time. So when you start being like this, what you perceive, you start a day like when you were a young man or a young boy that it looked like a very long thing one day. Well, you start perceiving days as very long things. Because as you are very mindful, you are constantly acting mindfully, and while you are doing the potatoes, and you know time looks like it's a lot, but it's only perceived as a lot because you are very efficient. The mind gets so concentrated that you are very efficient. For example, this Sunday I'm going to do a paella here for the teachers. you know, and you know I can do it and I leave it as if I was going very slow, but in 45 minutes I feed 21 people and I do a complicated paella. And just by flowing in the action.
What is a paella?
Paella is this big pan.
It's a dish.
It's a dish.
Spanish.
Yeah,
Paella.
paella.
Oh,
A Spanish dish.
Yeah, no,
Yes,
I
Spanish
understand.
dish. Rice with different
Rice.
things.
Yeah, no, I'm a paella.
It's done in a
I thought
fire.
it was a action, so that means I
Cooking, it's
Yeah,
cooking.
I
And
don't know.
I am a good cook and I like to cook.
There you go.
So you enjoy cooking.
I enjoy cooking. Yeah.
Okay.
So more questions? No? Okay, so males,
Sorry.
you are okay with the males, so only you and you. Okay,
Yes.
so I have it here. So
Okay, take care of yourself. See you.
Oh, you too.
Right, we're done.